Shalom. All praises go to the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Barakadash. Double honors unto the elder apostles at Great Millstone for the teachings of the scriptures, among other things. Shalom to the sincere Akim across the world. Now, there's a thing going on with the Snow White movie and stuff like that, which to me is one of the many signs of Esau's nation falling. You know, his kingdom is falling and stuff like that. Why? Because them curses is jumping upon them right now. Because this is what happened in the time of rock and roll, in the time of banjo, in the time of country music. But back in those days, they didn't have a lot of cameras because it kind of didn't exist to document all the Jacob descendants that actually laid down the foundations of the daughters of music nowadays. You know, because the daughters of music is not talking about women that sing. It's talking about the actual, how you call that thing? Like father, like son. For example, like you are the fruit of an evil tree. That's the daughters. Like that, you can actually say the daughters of an music are, right? So the daughters of music are the ones that trickle down from that music. Let me give an example. From blues came rock and roll and stuff like that. From one of them branches, then you had disco music. Then one of the branches of hip hop is rap, right? Then you had gangster rap and all that type of stuff. Then you have conscious rap. So those are the daughters of hip hop, you could say, right? Which then goes in. So collectively, they're all the daughters of music, right? So what's happening right now with Esau is exactly what had been happening with us. We got replaced, and then in their books, they were the ones that actually were the ones were the foundations, like were the founders. They got put up as the founders. So now, same thing how they did rock and roll and all these things, blues and all that type of stuff, is the same way that they did the Bible too, right? They took it, and then after a while, they started teaching it as if it's their own. And then now, everybody, when you say so-called Jesus, they get Caesar Borgia in their head, because that is what they think that he looks like, because of the brainwashing through history. So now, when you go and correct them, they telling you coming with that brainwashed stuff, and you coming with the falseness. So, anyway, that whole thing, because if you check out the words of Snow White, it says to be known as skin white as snow, something like that. Skin white as snow. One of the scriptures says leprosy. So they're glorifying something that should not even be glorified. And what's also happening right now is that, you know, the upside down world is actually being met to where is meeting each other. Because if you think about it, back in the days, right, the Jacob descendants, right, because it says in the book of Leviticus chapter 13 that the pale skin is leprosy, right? Can you imagine the horror that they went through reading that? So what happened right now is, you can imagine the horror that the Jacob descendants went through, the ones that was darker. Because I saw a documentary, which was, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to make this talk about this topic actually, is because the native Australians, the Aboriginals over there, they went through like harsh discrimination and racism over there. How? Esau went over there. I'm gonna put the links in the description box so you can check these documentaries. Oh shit, the thing is already on how you call that thing? Trickling down into my eyes. I can feel it. The oil in my face is melting. But anyway, so what did they do? Esau went over there, and then he took the children. And then in the documentary, they explain to you that the lighter ones, they got actually taken and integrated into Esau's society, and then the darker ones was left out there. So that's how Esau created, particularly, that's how he created the light skin versus dark skin war in Australia. He did the same thing in India, but there's other documents about that. But I'm gonna put the ones about in Australia, because these are short documentaries, well, not too long, maybe 20 minutes, 12 minutes, and 14 minutes or something. And then, you know, it's going to explain a lot of things. So let me get up in the scriptures right now. It says here, Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 7. All right? So it says here, Mhm. Deuteronomy 30 and 7, right? And Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. So they coming upon them right now. But like I said, if you was to read the book of Leviticus 13 back in those days, you would be horrified if you had that type of skin. You know, if you had that leprosy skin, you would be horrified. But now, since everything is upside down, so now they're being glorified. So I can understand it because I'm thinking about it like, yeah, actually, wait a minute. This is most likely a payback for the dark-skinned Jacob descendants that did things unto the lighter ones, and you know how they found them as an abomination. Like, ew, I don't want that, and you know, get away from them and all that type of stuff. So now, if you think about it, now I start understanding like, oh, that's one of the reasons why they hate dark skin, because it's like the Most High is now allowing them to basically get their licks in, their payback for the things that we have done unto them. Because if you think about it, if you read the book of Leviticus 13 and Numbers chapter 12, it explains to you that a leper skin, which is skin white as snow, those are the ones that was basically cursed. You don't want to mingle with those people, you know, back in the days. So it's kind of, I think of it as a kind of payback to a certain degree. To a certain degree, I understand it. I'm not necessarily down with it. I'm not down with it at all, but I understand. So just because I understand it doesn't mean I'm down with it. I can think different now. Like, oh, that's why you lepers are the desired ones upon the planet Earth right now, right? So now it says here. Let me see. What's that? Oh yeah, Leviticus chapter 13 verse. I start at 1. Like I said, this is a horrible thing to be reading if you are a leper, which is having white skin, leprosy. Now it says here, Leviticus 13 and 1. Laws about the plagues, that's the title. Laws about skin plagues. And Yahweh spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, when a man shall have in the skin of his flesh a rising, or a scab, or bright spot, and it be in the skin of his flesh, like the plague of leprosy, then he shall be brought unto Aaron the priest, or unto one of his sons the priests. Verse 3, and the priest shall look on the plague in the skin of the flesh, and when the hair in the plague is turned white, and the plague is in sight deeper than the skin of his flesh, it is a plague of leprosy, and the priest shall look on him and pronounce him unclean. So, back in the days, if you saw someone that had leper spot on his body or something like that, and he had like white hair growing, not the gray hair and stuff, like so-called gray hair, like the so-called white hair, not that one. I mean like the white hair that you can Google it. You know, somebody that they call it vigilito or something like that, and then you Google vigilito and white hair. If you Google that, then you will see, okay, that's leprosy, right? So it says here. Leviticus chapter 13 verse 4. So it says it's unclean, right? So can you imagine? Now you can understand how in their spirit they actually disdain dark skin, because everything is rolling back. Like the scripture says, there's no new thing under the sun. So let me read that again. And even in the time of Solomon had to add onto it, I'm black but I'm beautiful, basically. That so there was already some kind of I would not say disdain, but a notice, like, oh, he dark, he can't be beautiful then, you know. But King Solomon said, I am black but comely, you know, I'm black but beautiful. Well, you got to put the but, you know. They don't say I'm Caucasus but beautiful, you know, I'm white but beautiful. They don't say that. It's like a natural given without even saying it, you know. But with the so-called dark skin and brown skin Jakes, they have to add on to that they're beautiful. But damn it, what was I thinking about? Okay, the Solomon thing. I'm black but comely. But anyway, let me read on. So it says here, verse 4. If the bright spot be white in the skin of this flesh, and in sight be deeper than the skin, and the hair thereof turn not white, then the priest shall shut him up that had the plague 7 days. So they're going to wait for you 7 days in order for you to get chin checked. To get double checked again. Sorry, chin checked. It's an automatic word. Verse 5. And the priest shall look on him the seventh day, and behold, if the plague in sight be at a stay, so it's like in one place, right? And the plague spread not in the skin, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days more. So 7 days again, 14 days, right? Verse 6. And if the priest shall look on him again the seventh day, which is the 14th now, and behold, if the plague be somewhat dark, and the plague be spread, and the plague spread not in the skin, the priest shall pronounce him clean. It is but a scab, and he shall wash his clothes and be dark. Right, so he has a scab on his skin. So don't worry about it. You're gonna wash your clothing, and basically, you can leave. Back in the 90s, you had Jake saying stuff like, "Yo, I'ma bust nigga head to the white meat show," right? or when you fall off from a bicycle and then you start to see the white meat and stuff like that, and then after that the blood comes. Right, that one. Have you ever seen white meat, white skin under your when you scrape your body? And in the beginning you see the white is like, man, it's like white like paper, like paper that you draw up on, that type of white. And then after that the blood comes and stuff like that, right? So it says here 7. But if the scab spread much abroad the skin, after that he had been seen of the priest for his cleansing, he shall be seen of the priest again. Now you gotta go check yourself again. You gotta check in. you straight up gotta check in, right? Verse 8. And if the priest shall see that, behold, the scab spreadeth in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean of his leprosy. Right? That's another form of leprosy, right? Yeah, even if it doesn't have the white hair within it. I can actually check out something right now. Let me show you something. I think I'm gonna find it. But you can look it up for yourself if you have the time. So all you have to do is type in this one. Now if you check this one out, you probably can't see it. I don't know if you see it, but you see the leprosy up on her forehead, like she's a double leper. But the place where the leprosy spot is on her head turns white. Damn, hate being that close on the camera, but yeah, hey. But anyway, the spot on her hair turns white, right? Because that's the sign of leprosy, that white hair. But you have the other leper, which is yellow hair. But I'll get to that. So Leviticus 13 and let me see, 9. When the plague of leprosy is in a man, then he shall be brought unto the priest, and the priest shall see him, and behold, if the rising be white in the skin, and it have turned the hair white, and there be quick raw flesh in the rising, which is that picture that I just showed you, it looks like it's quick raw flesh. And you know what that raw flesh is? That's talking about, that red pinkish, look like it's uncooked. It's like this. It's like this. This side look like it's uncooked chicken. And some Edomites, when they take their shirt off, they look like spoiled milk. They want to make you turn vegan. It's my jokes. No, it's not. It's a right, going on. It says here, verse 10. And the priest shall see him, and behold, if the rising be white in the skin, and it have turned the hair white, and there be quick raw flesh in the rising, it is an old leprosy in the skin of his flesh, and the priest shall pronounce him unclean, and he shall not shut him up, for he is unclean. Right. He doesn't have to test you for like 7 days to see if it's going to spread or not. Nah, it's raw flesh. They got the white hair up in there. And then, yeah, that's it. If you type, like I said, if you type in Vigilito white hair, and then you just scroll through the pictures and stuff like that, you're going to find one popping up, and it's gonna look like some raw. So even though they're Edomites, it looked like some raw, uncooked flesh. You'd be looking at this shit like, damn, it really looks like it's sick. Some very scary, a scary sight, right? A scary leper, right? So going on, now it says here, verse 12. And if the leprosy break out abroad in the skin, and the leprosy cover all the skin of him that had the plague for his head, even to his foot, wheresoever the priest looketh, then the priest shall consider, and behold, if the leprosy have covered all his flesh, he shall pronounce him clean that had the plague. So, if you have a clean leper, that's like, for example, you got this movie named Adam's Family. Then you had the Morticia Adams and stuff like that. And what happened with that? She was pale like Snow White, right? There goes the word again, Snow White. So the Snow White thing is leprosy. She has that clean leper. So she's clean leper that had the plague. What is the plague? Leprosy. So she's clean that have it. Right? She's clean that have the plague. But you have the plague, but it's like a clean leper, right? That's basically 100% perfect pale, you could say. Right, like a gothic chick or something like that. Right, so going on, so it says 14. But when raw flesh appeareth in him, he shall be unclean. So now you have the leper, the clean leper, sorry, that had the plague, but he's clean leper. And then you have the other one, which is the one that have the raw flesh within the clean leper. Yeah, that would, the raw flesh maketh it unclean, right? So it says here, 14. Yeah, so can you imagine a person reading this, and then, all the people on the planet Earth have melanin, except the Edomites. And then you could kind of imagine now how this, oh yeah, that's what I was thinking about, how the retaliation came upon the dark-skinned people upon the planet Earth. Because it's like the Most High, he was changing things upside down to make them feel good about themselves right about now. So the longer you were in this truth, I made videos about this back in the days, but the Snow White thing sparked it up again. Made me think like, hey, let me talk about it. Just to boast up the ones that have the, they're irritated, because I talk to a lot of West Africans and stuff like that, or people from Africa actually. Some of them are jakes, some of them I don't know, some, I don't know. But I just talk to everybody, because the scripture says just talk to everybody, see if they accept it, and if they don't, then you leave it alone. And if they do, then, that's what's up. Now it is here, the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, verse 9. The thing that had been, it is that which shall be. And that which is done is that which shall be done. So the thing that had been is the thing that shall be. So the past is going to be the future. So the same thing is going to happen. And that which is done is that which shall be done. So the things that have been done back before are the things that's going to be done in the future. And there is no new thing under the sun. Right. So there's no new thing under the sun whatsoever you do. Because if you talk about televisions and stuff like that, yeah, they had it back in the days with the crystal ball. The witch's crystal ball. Yeah, you could see people up in there too. You know what I'm saying? The Most High had certain visions, like the hologram. It's also a thing that is an old thing. It had been here before. The magic that the pharaohs had, the Hamites over there, Mizraim. They could turn their sticks into snakes and stuff like that. If you type in, no, don't type in Google, because you're not gonna find it. If you type in, you need to go to Yandex, right? Yandex, you spell it with a Y-A-N-D-E-X, Yandex, and then you type in Dynamo turns frog into a how you call that thing? Dynamo turns a frog statue into a living frog. When I saw that, I made a video right away talking about, that's the type of spiritual powers on the left hand side what the Mizraim people had back then. So this shows you that these people are doing things that have been done way before, and the Bible shows you that. For example, yeah. So going on, Leviticus 13 and where was I? Leviticus 13 and what was that? 13 and 13. No? Eh? Where was that actually? Let's start at 14. 13 and 14. Now it says here, but when raw flesh appeareth in him, he shall be unclean. And the priest shall see the raw flesh and pronounce him to be unclean, for the raw flesh is unclean. The raw flesh is unclean. It is leprosy. Like I said, can you imagine the sinking of the heart that these people had back in those days when they was pronounced to be a leper and stuff like that? That's why you see around the world right now the sinking in the heart for the heathen nations, the Jacob descendants. It used to be a little bit harsher. It used to be way harder back in the days, but the Most High is slowly but surely lifting it up. Because now you see, because of the internet and stuff like that, you see darker skinned models from South Sudan, which are the real Mizraim, the real Egyptians. They went downward. And then you see models popping up from there. It's not actually models. It's more actually like females that are just online taking pictures of themselves. And then people in the comment boards screaming how beautiful they are because they're so piercing dark. That was not a beautiful thing a few decades ago. Or a few centuries ago. 200, 300 years. Yeah, that was not a beautiful thing. Especially not in America. And actually the whole entire world. Like I said, if you type in India, you're going to see some, just type in India colorism. The whiter you are, the more you're glorified and the more you're up there, you're esteemed. But the Most High said, the things that are esteemed among men are abomination unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Alright, so, going on, Leviticus 13 and 15. And the, oh no, already with that. Let me see, 16. So it says, or if the raw flesh turn again, so it goes back, like it goes away again, and be changed into white, ye shall come unto the priest, and the priest shall see him. And behold, if the plague be turned into white, then the priest shall pronounce him clean that had the plague. He is clean. So you still have a plague, but it's the clean one, right? The clean leper, the clean plague. Now you have the filthy leper too, which is the one with the cow spots and stuff like that. Because those are the ones that are, how can I say, which they call vigilite or stuff like that, right? Right. So let me read on, verse 18. The flesh also, in which even in the skin thereof was a boil, and is healed. So if you have sores, then it is healed. You know, then it's good again, right? So going on, verse 19. And in the place of the boil, there be a white rising, or sorry. Okay. Sorry. Let me read it again. Leviticus 13 and 19. And in the place of the boil, there be a white rising, or a bright spot, white, and somewhat reddish, and it be shown to the priest. And if when the priest see it, behold, it be in sight lower than the skin, and the hair thereof be turned white, the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a plague of leprosy broken out of the boil. Right. So then you're unclean again. It's like it could come, and then it could leave again. And if it comes, you're unclean. And if it leaves, then you're clean that had the plague. Like I said, I hope you now can understand. I hope you already understood it, but now you can understand, Lord willing, of course. You know, for the ones that don't understand, I'm doing it for the ones that don't understand, because the one that's understand, you don't have to watch these videos, man. You can, you know, you already know. I'm on to focus on the ones that don't know. That's the best for me. You know what I'm saying? Teaching people, because look, I'm gonna give you an example of a fact. You see, you know what I think a real dope teacher is? The one that teaches the dummies. Yeah, if you can teach a dummy, I think you're a great teacher, man. You know what I'm saying? But if you teach the smart ones, you didn't do anything. He's already smart. It's the dummies that you need to be teach that I want to teach. I'm a dummy too, so I know what I'm talking about. It's not disrespectful, you know. But anyway, Those are the ones that I like to teach, especially the ones that have the faith of Yahweh Shem Shai. And that didn't even like school, just like me. Get out of here with that nonsense. I ain't following no Edomite bullshit. So anyway, so Leviticus chapter 13 verse. So it says, let me see, where was that? Leviticus 13 and 20. And if the priest seeth it, behold, it be in sight lower than the skin, and the hair thereof be turned white, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a plague of leprosy broken out of the boil. 21. But if the priest look on it, and behold, there be no white hairs therein, and if it be not lower than the skin, so it's not skin deep. Lower than the skin is skin deep. You know? Going on. So it says here, but be somewhat dark, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days. So if it's dark, then you need to be shut out 7 days, just like Miriam, that was shut out without the camp for 7 days. Why? Because she became Snow White. You know, which is a thing that is highly esteemed among men right now. I'm telling you, man, you got people that really glorify the way that they look like that. I'm like, what the fuck? They really glorify that shit, man. And I'm talking about Jacob descendants. I'm not talking about the rest. Actually, I am. Well, yeah. I'm going to mention the rest. I'm going to mention people in India. You have people in, let me see. Of course, India, South America, you already know. China and Japan. Oh, I was thinking about it. China, Japan, Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, all these places, they all have it. You could look it up, you know what I'm saying? Just type that country name, and then behind it you type in colorism, and then you're gonna see what's really going down over there. So let me see here. So Lord willing, now you understand why this disdain and this hatred, because it's like reverse reality. Like back in the days when you had that that leper skin and that darker skin, that people would praise you just for to be the dark one. But now it's actually turned around to where, you know, they're being praised because they look like lepers. They got the plague. Some got the clean plague, the clean leper, and the other ones got that raw flesh though. Right? So, and let me see. I'll get to this later. I just pulled up Numbers chapter 12, which I can read it right now actually. Numbers chapter 12 verse 9. And it says here, and the anger of Yahweh was kindled against them, and he departed. And the cloud departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. That's Snow White. Isn't it written in Snow White that skin white as snow, hair black as ebony? Is not black. Ebony is different shades of brown. They should have said hair black as raven, because a bird. But if you look at their, I can go with the technical nonsense. It's not nonsense, but if you look at a raven or a crow, if you look closely, you're gonna see oil spots on their feathers. You know, that's for the deflecting. I don't know, the Most High does stuff like that. You know the sprinkle that you have where you sprinkle plants with? If you do it in the sunlight, you're gonna see the rainbow. You know? So all the colors are there right there. You can't see it unless you spray water in the air. And but you need to be at a certain angle, or your television, or your phone. If you wet it with water, you're gonna see rainbow colors. You're gonna see all the colors of the rainbow, because it's there. You just can't tap into it yet, unless the water sprinkles, or the Heavenly Father does something, you know. So, right. So reading on. So it says here, Miriam became leprous, white as snow, and Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. And Aaron said unto Moses, Alas, my Lord, I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us, because who was also cursed with leprosy, is a curse, whether you believe it or not. You have the clean leper, yeah, but Joab, his whole household got cursed into leprosy. So 2 Samuel chapter 3 verse 39, sorry. Let me read it again. 2 Samuel 3:39. So it says, let it rest on the head of. Wait, let me read a little bit into it. Because Joab did something to wherewith he would cause King David to take the blood upon him, because it would then therefore be his fault, because he's the king and it happened under his rule. And he was like, no, I ain't got nothing to do with that. Let that blood be upon Joab, because he's the one that did it. So, 2 Samuel 3 and 37. Protest again? It's like every other day they protesting here in Amsterdam. Palestinians again. Let me drink this way. Right. So 2 Samuel chapter 3, 37. For all the people and all Israel understood that day that it was not of the king to slay Abner the son of Ner, which was the uncle of Saul. Damn, they got stamina screaming like that. I hate loud sounds. Hate that shit. I'm really like Symbian. I hate loud sounds. Anyway, on verse 38, and the king said unto the servants, know ye not that there is a prince and a great man fallen this day in Israel? So, King David actually liked Ner. He liked him, Abner, sorry, the son of Ner. He loved him actually. So, 39. And I am this day weak. He was very sad. He was, he was messed up about it. Though anointed king, and these men, the sons of Zeruiah, be too hard for me. Yahweh shall reward the doer of evil according to his wickedness. Eh? What? Oh, I actually jumped over it. I'm gonna read it again. 2 Samuel chapter 3, verse 28. And afterward, when David heard it, he said, I and my kingdom are guiltless before Yahweh forever, from the blood of Abner the son of Ner. 29. Let it rest on the head of Joab, and on all his father's house, and let there not fail from the house of Joab one that had an issue. Leviticus 15. They're always gonna have dick problems. Or that is a leper, or that leaneth on a staff. They're always gonna be weak, leaning on the staff, needing a crutch, because the Most High gonna tamper with your legs, well, through the curses of David, of course, and it will come to pass. Just like how Shammai cursed King David, it did come to pass. But I don't know what the curse was actually. I didn't read about. I read it, but it doesn't specifically say what the curse was that Shammai put on David, King David. It doesn't specifically say, but that's one of the reasons why he was so weak at the end of his days. Because the Most High allowed that curse to actually come upon him. Because he sinned, and therefore there was no hedge against that. Because people might say there is no curse against Jacob. That's true. As a whole nation, the Most High is going to protect us. But I know of Haiti and individual curses. People do put curses upon each other, man. South America and stuff like that. Santa Maria and other curses and stuff among the Latin tribes. They be cursing the stuff out of each other, man. And it works. And be like, shit, man, you got cursed. And so, but it's not with the chosen ones of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. It's not going to work. And you can curse Jacob as a whole. They can only curse themselves by actually doing wickedness. I'm going to give you an example of a fact. Joshua 7:11. It says, Israel had sinned, and they have also transgressed my covenant which I commanded them. For they have even taken of the accursed thing, and have also stolen, and dissembled also, and they have put it among their own stuff. Therefore, so because they did that, therefore, the children of Israel could not stand before their enemies, but turned their backs before their enemies, because they were accursed. Neither will I be with you any more, except ye destroy the accursed from among you. So this is how the Most High am protecting. And King David stole a wife. He stole a wife, and then he murdered the man too. But the scripture says that the Jacob descendants eventually are going to get the true mercies of Jacob, the mercies of David. It says it right here. As a whole nation, the entire nation of Jacob is going to get the mercies of David. So it says Isaiah 55:3, incline your ear and come unto me. Hear, and your soul shall live. And I will make an everlasting covenant with you, even the sure mercies of David. So once we get that second covenant, he already has mercy on us right now for allowing us to be able to accept his word. Because I talk to people that they just don't accept his word, man. And I don't talk to them further concerning these scriptures. You know, some people after a few years, then they ask me again, like, hey, what is that thing he was talking about? Some people just leave it. Some people don't want to talk to you anymore. I don't have no problem with that, man. You know, I live for myself. Like the scripture basically explains to you that you're not going to carry no one in the kingdom. You don't know if that person is going to make it or not. So we hope that the ones are going to make it and stuff like that. You know, we hope that, you know, when you talk to him, you would hope for him. Other than that, I can't do anything. But the sure mercies of David is handed over unto the elect, first and foremost, and then the entire nation of Jacob in the kingdom. So going back to 2 Samuel 3, verse the rest of 29. So it says here, Joab, one that had an issue, or that is a leper, or leaneth on the staff, or falleth on the sword. So they're going to die in war. Or lacketh bread. You know? So you're going to lack bread and stuff. They're going to starve. You're going to have Joab descendants that's going to get messed up and stuff like that. You know? Because the blood shall be upon his hand for the murder that he did upon Abner. Right, so let me read on. Now it says here, what was that again? Oh yeah, Leviticus. Damn, as soon as the sun come out, everybody is out. Everybody is out. Right, so it says it. Leviticus chapter 13, verse 22. And if it spread much abroad in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a plague. But if the bright spots stay in his place and spread not, it is a burning boil, and the priest shall pronounce him clean. So let me just basically jump to 29. So Leviticus 13:29. If a man or woman have a plague upon the head or the beard, then the priest shall see the plague, and behold, if it be in sight deeper than the skin, so it cometh about the flesh, and there be in it a yellow thin hair, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a dry scowl, even a leprosy upon the head or beard. Right, so they speak about blondes have more fun. Yeah, nowadays. You see how everything changed around? So now, if you have the woolly hair, you know what I'm saying, they talk chitter about you and stuff like that. You know, if you had the darker skin, they talk chitter about you like that. Why? Everything is turned upside down. You know, it shall be esteemed as a potter's clay. So let me read that real quick. Isaiah 29:16. Isaiah 29:16. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. So the things that are upside down right now, they're being esteemed like a potter his clay. A potter his clay is nothing more but dirt. It's like a earth clay, very disgusting looking. People don't like it that much, so much that they move. If you have like, even if you got old shoes, if you see clay on the ground, you would circle around it. That's how much people don't like it. Well, those are the things that are being esteemed right now concerning a vase, for example, or a vase, tomato. You have Chinese vases or vases that cost like 69 million, 69 million euros or something like that for a stupid vase that they dug up at the earth, heated it up in the oven, painted it, and now it's like 69 million. I want to make that too, but it all depends on who makes it. For example, if you have like Michael Jordan or whatever, he comes and he sets up a painting, and then you have a regular Jacob descendant sets up the same painting. Which one would be more worth? Let's make it even worse. They both use so-called AI, software program, to make a picture. And the picture is 100% exactly the same. The one that Michael made, Jordan, is going to be glorified, and the one that the no-name person, he has a name, but not in this world. You know, nobody in this world. That one is just going to be for free. And then they both put their hand sign on it. And which one do you think is going to be stacking up the mills? First in the thousands and stuff like that, in the hundreds and stuff like that. But who's going to be racking up that money? The Jordan. Which is funny because his name is actually on one who is like God, and then the favorite river of the Heavenly Father. That's crazy. Michael Jordan. That's literally. That's his name. I don't like him though. He's a real piece of shit. Yeah. You should ask a chameleonaire. He knows better. He knows better. You can Google it. You can YouTube that video. Chameleonaire meets Michael Jordan. He talks about how much of a piece of shit he really is. He's a real arrogant, proud bastard. Anyway, Leviticus 13 and 29. If a man or a woman have a plague upon the head or upon the... Oh, I already read that. So, what's it that show you? It shows you that everything now is turned upside down. So, now I hope you would understand, like, oh, why is this all happening? Because the things up on the world are turned upside down, and those are the things that are being esteemed. But to a certain degree, I understand, you know, because it might have been the other way around toward them in the ancient times. So it's kind of understandable that they feel a certain way and stuff like that. So that's funny. What was I looking for? I was looking for something. Okay, Numbers chapter 12, verse 10. 10. No, 11. And Aaron said unto Moses, Alas, my Lord, I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us, wherein we have done foolishly, and wherein we have sinned. So, they sinned, and they got the sin put upon them. You know, so it's still a sin. It's the plague. But you have a clean plague, and you have the filthy leper. The clean leper and the filthy leper. The filthy leper is unclean. Mm-hmm. So, verse 12. Let her not be as one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed, when he cometh out of his mother's womb. That's when you're born, you don't have your full skin color yet. It's later on in time you start to get your developed your how you call it, the melanin start actually developing more and becoming thicker and thicker, and then it basically comes forth. It's like it's cooking, just like how you cook in your mother's womb. It's like an oven. So you're cooking, you come out, you might look a little bit on the lighter side compared to your parents. And then later on, you start cooking and turning into the same color as your parents. Sorry, I think I flicked. But anyway, what the fuck? Look at the damn picture. That was far. 2 Esdras 15 and 56. Like as thou hast done unto my chosen, saith Yahweh, even so shall Yahweh do unto thee, and shall deliver thee into mischief. So all the things that they've been doing unto us as a whole nation, the Most High is going to pay it back. That's loose from the color thing, because he's going to pay for that, by the way. You know? And the Jacob descendants is going to be put on high again, and all the Jacob descendants are going to get their melanin back. Maybe for the ones that don't want it, I don't know. Because the Most High said in the book of Matthew 6 that before you ask something, he will ever something. Yeah. Before you ask something, he would give it unto you. Right before you pray, he knows what you want, and therefore he would give it to you already. I don't know. Maybe some of y'all want to be, you know, because I already see it right now. Maybe it's gonna be at that time like an how you call it? It's gonna be at that time like an how you call that thing again? You know, you have them people that only join forces when it's winning time. So when they're in the winning time, then they want to join. But if they're losing, they be like, no, I don't want to be a part of that. You know. But when they see the benefits, and they be like, yeah, I'm a part of that. You know. So that's that part. I don't know. It's gonna be up to you, whether you do it or not. I don't want to look like you, so you probably don't want to look like me. But I know some Jakes, man. They want to get their melanin back. Look, to each his own, man. You can do whatever you want, but just don't come up on that hatred tip, because I'm gonna try to smoke your ass. That's my mindset. Fuck that shit. Like Jacob descendants, right? If you check out the darker ones, right, they actually have no problem with them. They love your hair. They love your skin. You know what I'm saying? Jake want to actually look at all the athletes and stuff like that. Jake love these leopard, these clean leopard. He love them, you know. So it's not about that. It's about the hatred that they gather back upon you. That's another thing. But like I said, I understand it. If I got that spiritual power, you might be in trouble. But I understand. Lord willing, man. Just give me time to sit there in it, and before you know it, hey, I'm actually very forgiving. I'm telling you, you might think it's not because it's some bullshit going on, but don't worry about that. Yahweh Bashem Yahshai knows what's really going down, and I'm very patient too. You got people that, you know, people be screwing with me for years and stuff like that. When I screw back, I'm the one that throws them shit. You know, they keep on doing shit. I keep on reacting, but it's all good, man. That's why I'm telling you, kids, don't be drinking and thinking. You're gonna turn into a killer. But it's all good, man. I can still laugh about that shit, man. Cause I know, like, whatever. My spirit is dope, but then it's like a yola holder. That's what I hope. I always was thinking like that, but I make jokes, man. That's what I do. It's all fun and games. But let me get a few scriptures here. Right. Right, so let me get to this one. Now, so that's actually what's happening with the Snow White thing, right? Because the scripture said that skin white as snow is a leper, which is unclean, which is a curse and a sin. But what was I saying? No, I had a scripture in my head, but leave it. Anyway, so going to Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For Yahweh hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. So when I see all these things where they want to put woman higher and stuff like that, and higher than the man, I'm looking at the scriptures like, yep, those are the curses that are coming up on the Edomites right about now. You already had these things back in the days. That was happening already. You know, women were being put up on a pedestal. But what is the Most High knocked them down off of that pedestal? But now the Most High is doing it back up again. Why? Because the curses is coming up on the planet Earth. And it's starting with Esau. Because who's the one that's actually complaining the most? It's the Edomite males, man. They are the ones that are complaining the most because they are the ones that are losing their power. The feminists don't hate me. Get the fuck out of here, bro. The Caucasian feminists don't hate me, bro. They hate their own men. You know what I'm saying? Jacob, a so-called black female feminist, she gonna have a problem with me. Cause she be looking at me like the aggressor or some shit like that. Like I'm making power moves or some dumb shit like that, you know? Or whatever. Jake ain't got no power. Not like Esau, which is his is his due reward. It's his time right now. So I understand all that. Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 7. And Yahweh thy power will put all these already with that. Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. So that's what happened with the Jacob descendants. Women started ruling over them. Let me read it again. Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths. So this shows you that following the woman and the woman being over you and stuff like that, that's a destructive path. And who's teaching it? It were the leaders back in those days. That's why you have a lot of crazy, crazy doctrine leaders. They might be speaking great breakdowns and all that type of stuff, but they coming up with the mark of the beast is talking about sleeping with Edomite females, or the mark of the beast is what's the other guy? What he said? Some kind of bullshit, man. IOIC had that bogus ass breakdown. You know, with other things they're on point when they break down the scriptures and stuff like that. But all of a sudden, you hear them spewing stuff like an embargo, or you know, the mark of the beast is not a chip. Like what? What are you talking about, man? It is definitely the mark of the beast, man. You're not gonna be able to buy or sell without that chip. What are you talking about? And it's gonna be in your forehead or in your right hand. Why are you saying these things? Because or it's pride, or he paid off. It's either way. Or he's really that stupid. I don't think he's that stupid. I think or pride or paid off. If he's really that stupid, then hey, I don't know. You're still gonna get destroyed. Second Peter shows that. Second Peter 3:16. Oh, wait a minute. Hey. Second Peter 3:16 says here, as also in all his epistles speaking in them of these things, in which are some things hard to be understood, which they that are unlearned and unstable rest. They wrestle with it, man, because they can't get a grip on it. So they tug of war with the scriptures, and then they're gonna lose. Because it says here, as they do also the other scriptures unto their own destruction. So what's going to happen when you start tug of warring with the scriptures, like you really want to get it, but you can't, but you really think you figured it out? You're going to destroy yourself. That's why I would advise you, the Jacob descendants, all of y'all, to listen to the elder apostles at Great Millstone. And off of that, then you got the breakdowns and stuff of that. Off of that, then you learn further. What's I gonna say? Off of that is how you understand stuff. Off of that is how you understand stuff. All right. And pray to Yahweh Bashem Yahshai that He keep you in that name. And once you got that name, and once you got that the doctrine, Heavenly Father willing, then it's John chapter 15, verse 16. Then you go about and gather as many as want to come to the meal, the supper, right? And it's a very important thing to come to the supper. Matthew 22. Well, speaking of supper, wait, let me... Because we are in that time right now where the supper is being mentioned. Where the supper is being prepared, sorry. Okay, let me... Leviticus and then Numbers and then what more? Oh yeah. Right. So Leviticus, what was that? It's in 40. Right. Because we in a time right now to be gathering the ones of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and hoping we ourselves are not a castaway. You know? So Matthew 22:1. And Yahushua answered and spake unto them. Wait, let me start at Proverbs 9. Proverbs 9:1 is synonymous with Matthew 22, right? For Matthew 22:1 until 14 is mentioned in is mentioned in Proverbs chapter 9, verse 1 until 10. Okay, so I'll get back to this before I forget. Right, so Proverbs 9:1. Wisdom had builded her house. She had hewed out her 7 pillars, which is about stability. Now, I know you're going to get that Roman pillar in your head because that's what the world does. They put things in your head through their television, through their brainwashery. Just like how they stole rock and roll and banjo and country music is the same way that they stole the Bible, because now they make you think it's them. And they do that specifically with us, like the Jacob descendants. They've been doing it since the 1920s, right? Going on further, actually, into 1800s and stuff like that. But we've been doing that, and it's not being recognized unto us. Referenced. We're not referenced.